This is Kat Kerr on the right. If you're unfamiliar, she claims to be a prophet of God. She prophesies for God, gives you information that God wants the world to have. You may know her because she got famous a while back for ordering a hurricane to leave this area or whatever. And of course, she failed miserably because the hurricane did a ton of damage. Here you go. This is from 2019, late August 2019.
So right now, at this moment, we take authority over Dorian that has no right off the coast of this state or anywhere. And we hit that storm to the east right now. And I'm going to do it 3 times.
So anyway, yeah, that's what she's probably most famous for. This went viral back then. But nobody really followed up with her. So I wanted to watch some of the crazier stuff she had to say recently. She went on a hiatus or a sabbatical, or I don't know what you'd call it. And she's back. So let's listen to her talk about her crazy nonsense, because it is about as entertaining as it gets. And she's on the show of this guy, Steve Schultz. He owns the Elijah List. He believes that he hosts prophets and only prophets of God. So anyway, we're jumping in like 13 minutes in because the beginning was just them shouting out all their stupid stuff. So you didn't miss anything.
He traps you, and then he pushes you in ways you don't want to go, but God will always give you a choice.
That's good.
You have a choice. Choose life.
Can you, Kat, I don't even know if you would know how to answer this kind of a Steve question, but I absolutely believe you. You said our citizenship is in heaven, and yet at the same time you mentioned the weather warrior. So even though our citizenship is in heaven, he's...
So we have dual citizenship is what he's saying, because Kat Kerr made that claim. Dual citizenship. We're citizens of America, and also we have citizenship in heaven. Or hell, I guess, if you're a bad person. I don't even know. What? She claims to go to heaven all the time, by the way. She claims to have painted pictures and touched God's hair and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Still wants us to take authority here in this location, right? So it's sort of a dual... There you go. It's good, but yeah, what about that? It's almost like dual citizenship. I mean, how would you...
You kind of do. We're sent here to this earth on assignment from God. He chooses and times your birth on this earth. But his whole point of making the earth was so we would have a body, a physical body.
Wait, I don't understand. What's the point of having a physical body? She's saying God put us here with a physical body? For what? Why?
He actually made a whole physical realm. There wasn't one. Everything was spirit realm. We were little spirits who lived inside God. We had little bodies.
We lived inside of God? That's a Calvinist belief, isn't it? There's like Protestantism, and there's Catholicism, and then there's Calvinism. Calvinist denominations tend to believe in predestination. Everything is already set in stone, everything that you're going to do. And they also believe commonly that heaven is just being a part of God. But she's literally described having a mansion in heaven and a whole wardrobe in heaven, like physically. I don't know why we would need a wardrobe in heaven, but okay. Oh, yeah, and she also believes that we're all going to be married to Jesus, and we are all going to consummate that marriage with Jesus when we go to heaven. I'm not joking. You know what that means? That means Jesus is gay. Seriously. Guess there's gay marriage in heaven. Gay marriage and plural marriage in heaven. And orgies, apparently, because they consummate with Jesus. I'm not joking. She's said that.
Played in the river of life, jumped on the stones of fire, but he always had a plan where we could be birthed, sent from him through the womb of a woman. You know, one man, one woman, people. Don't try to be greedy. Let's just...
Don't try to be greedy? Well, weren't major Bible characters that had God's good graces in plural marriages? And isn't Jesus, going to be married to you later?
Put that out there for free, okay? And that's the way he planned it, so that man could be on the earth, rule over the earth. That's why he made a physical realm. That's why we now have physical bodies. Inside this body, I have a spiritual body and I have a soul. I'm actually a living soul. My soul is my mind, my will, and emotions. One of the most important parts God made for me. Your soul and your spirit cannot be separated. When you die, the physical body dies. Your spirit and your soul go to heaven if you receive Christ. And
if you've received Christ. You go to heaven if you've received Christ. If not, I guess you go to hell then, right?
if it didn't, you wouldn't know how to think. You couldn't make choices. You couldn't choose things. So yes, your soul goes to heaven with you when you go to heaven. And you still have memories and stuff like that. Wonderful things that you're going to need that soul for. But on the earth, people are finally finding out how important your soul is. When Adam was brought to life, his body was lifeless. When the Father breathed Adam's spirit that he was carrying in himself into Adam's nostrils, Adam became a living soul. And that's what the Bible calls him.
No, it says he breathed life into Adam, and Adam was wandering around and eating fruit that he wasn't supposed to eat and all that other junk, right? Doesn't say anything about souls and all that in the book of Genesis, the first few chapters, does it? I don't remember that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does talk about souls. I don't know. Something I've noticed, though, about like Kerr, one way or another, and all of these other prophets, Greg Locke and blah, blah, blah. Something I've noticed about them, they love making shit up. They will make it up until the cows come home. Things that are not in the Bible in any way, you can't, like, no interpretation of the Bible could lead you to where they got led. But they believe this stuff anyways, and they use it as, like, the basis for their preaching and all that. It's crazy.
He has a spirit, came a living soul. And that's what the Bible calls him. A living soul, he has a spirit, and then you have a body. So this body, all three parts of you, are very important to God. And yes, he will allow you to use every...
Wait, she said all three parts. Spirit, soul, body? What's the difference between a spirit and a soul? I don't understand. And she's just making this up right off the top of her head anyways, right?
one of them for him if you want him to. Give him permission, receive Christ. But your soul, what you think about, and then what you choose, and then how you act, has everything to do with what you watch, what you say, what you listen to, what kind of encounters you're having with people, the places that you go to. Are they filled with darkness? Are they filled with light? You need to guard your soul. When it says guard your heart, for out of it flow the issues of life, that's your soul. Your soul is in the very heart of your being. It's talking about that. Guard your soul, for out of it will flow the way you will live your life, is what that scripture means. So if you don't like the way you're living your life, what are you watching? What are you saying?
Well, hey, let me give you an example, Kat.
Where are you going?
Kat, when this is like a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks, I don't know for sure, but there was a historical movie, kind of like a docudrama that was going to be in the theaters, and I was very excited about it because I heard...
Dude, look at the book behind Steve Schultz's head there, just to the side of his head there. You see the book to the left of me? It's written by Donald Trump. Time to Get Tough. I didn't even know he wrote that book. They are huge Trump fans. A lot of these people that come on this show believe that Trump is like the Messiah or whatever. It just does it get crazier than this?
Really good things about this movie, but I checked online before we went. We were going to go later in that day or the next morning, and it had all this stuff, all this R-rated stuff and nudity, and I just said, man, I wanted to see that so bad, but we clearly can't go. And
wow, fascinating. Passion of the Christ was rated R. I bet you went and saw that, didn't you? They don't care if something's rated R necessarily. They'll watch all that stuff. It's just, does it reaffirm their beliefs or not, is what it's really about.
There was no appeal to go. I was just telling my wife, I wanted to see that so bad because I wanted the story, but not at the expense of my soul. And that's why I brought that up, because that would just have poisoned my soul to take that in, right?
What people do not realize is what you let in your soul doesn't leave.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's when people have, like, let's say something traumatic happened to them when they were a child.
Oh my God, dude. This sounds just like L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology.
I mean, really horrible. They don't forget it. They'll still have nightmares about it. They'll still remember it like 30, 40, 50 years later. It could
It's because it causes PTSD in some cases, yeah.
have
Yeah.
affected their whole entire life
Wow.
from that one thing. They don't realize, of course, that as a believer, you can choose to loose all of that out of your soul as an act of your will.
And I thought she just said that all that stuff stays in you forever. What happened to that? I guess she's changing her mind now?
The keys to the kingdom. Christ said, I give you the keys to the kingdom. What you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. You can bind the love of God, the life of God, his plans, his will for your life, his expectation. You can bind that to your soul, and nobody can take it out, because heaven will make sure it gets put there. But when you choose to loose the things, all the horrific things, any witchcraft that you may have watched or been a part of, anything that was wicked or evil or murder, horrible murders that you saw, any stuff like that will so pollute your soul. It'll pollute it, then you'll get eventually dragged into that stuff, and you won't even know what it is from. It's from what you put in there, what you allow in there. What you become is what you're going to watch and see and hear. You decide what happens to your soul. And so that's why it's so important to understand how it operates. Your soul needs to be pure, it needs to be clean. Who shall ascend my holy hill? Those with clean hands and a pure heart.
This is bizarre, dude. She's just making all of this up right off the top of her head, right? Is there like any basis for anything that she's saying in the Bible, or is this just nonsense?
He's talking about your soul. When he says the word heart, he means the core of your being, that is your soul. So it's up to you to make sure garbage stays out of your home. Don't watch R-rated movies after your kids go to bed. It will actually affect them while they're sleeping. I wouldn't do that. Open your door and kick all of it out. Sever every portal you've opened to hell.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so if you watch my channel a lot, then you'll notice that the previous videos that I released were about Greg Locke telling people that you should throw out any urns with, you know, your cremated family members in it, because having that urn in your house will invite demons in and will prevent Jesus from entering the home and blah, blah, blah. And here we have another evangelical nutcase, calls herself a prophet, telling us what we can and can't have. This is extremism, plain and simple.
Stays out of your home. Don't watch R-rated movies after your kids go to bed. It will actually affect them while they're sleeping. I wouldn't do that. Open your door and kick all of it out. Sever every portal you've opened to hell because you allow that to be watched. The authority you give the enemy is what they're going to take and use against you and your family. So if you've done any of that, open the door, kick all the junk out, and don't watch anymore. And I'm telling you, if you guard yourself, and God's watching, he knows when you've done this. You make an effort. If you have trouble, ask him to help you.
That's good.
Don't be a part of that anymore. Get it out of your life.
This is so sad, man. They are regulating, controlling what people are allowed to watch and allowed to do and everything else. This right here is what makes something a cult. This is the difference between a cult and a religion. A cult controls people. They control what you watch and what you do and what you think and what you wear and how you look and blah, 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 blah. What you do with your free time, all of it. They control everything from top to bottom. That's what makes something a cult. That's the difference between a cult and a religion. Control. And here we're listening to Kat Kerr explain what you are and are not allowed to have in your home or watch or do or whatever. She is one cog in a broader machine that is the cult of Trump, sadly.
If you guard yourself, and God's watching, he knows when you've done this. You make an effort. If you have trouble, ask him to help you.
That's good.
Don't be a part of that anymore. Get it.
Dude, you know what's sad? That whole God's watching thing. That's actually a pretty common belief among, you know, a lot of Christians. God is omnipresent and he's watching everything that happens. So if you do something you're not supposed to, he knows about it, right? It's one of those fear tactics. Well, my sister, when she was, I think, like, I don't know, 12 maybe, I'm not sure exactly how old she was caught by my mom changing clothes under the kitchen table because she didn't want God to see when she's changing clothes. Seriously. You want to talk about traumatizing children? Extremist Christianity is responsible for more childhood trauma than maybe anything else in the United States. Overall, like population-wise. 7 million children versus like however many are mistreated terribly, like abused or whatever. Overall, they are responsible for the most amount of children, I would bet money, being traumatized. I mean, every Catholic child is taught about how they'll go to hell if they don't do this or that, or if they whatever. And that seriously scares the shit out of them. Really, no joke. Don't underestimate the fear that children have, Catholic children have, when the knowledge of hell is instilled into them. And the knowledge that if they don't confess their sins before dying, i.e. last rites or whatever, then they're going to hell, no matter how devout they were. No loopholes. So if you walk out of a church one day, a Catholic church, and you say, you know what, I'll do the confession on Wednesday instead of Sunday. Just a couple days away. And, and we'll do that. And you go to church every week, twice a week even, and you're devout. You believe it to the bottom of your heart. You got Jesus statues all over the place, the whole 9 yards, rosary beads and everything. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to do my confession on Wednesday instead of Sunday. And you walk out of the church and you get hit by a car. That's it. You're going to hell. Doesn't matter how devout you were. And that instills the deepest sense of fear imaginable in a young kid. Not to mention all the other stuff the Catholic Church has done to kids. I'll just leave that to one side for this moment.
Out of your life. That's how people get hooked even in pornography. I'm just going to say it. You watch one thing on a computer, you think that's not going to hurt you. It'll suck you into a place you don't want to be.
No, I do want to be there, actually. That it sucks me into a place I want to be. I definitely want to be where it's pulling me to. That's why these companies are so rich. Nah, I don't actually look at that stuff.
It could ruin your marriage, it could ruin your life,
it could ruin a marriage, yeah. I wouldn't, yeah, I would be real careful with that. Like I said, I don't do that anymore, certainly, because I'm married and I have no need to, but it's not a good idea to do if you're married, unless you discuss that with your wife.
into all kinds of other stuff. You don't want to do that. That is one of the traps of hell. What hell can get you to take that is theirs is what they will ruin your whole life with, your destiny and everything.
No, I mean, looking at that stuff back in the day didn't ruin my life, actually. I'm perfectly fine. Totally 100% great, as a matter of fact. It didn't ruin anything for me.
Else, you don't want that to happen. You can say no. And then you say, I choose an acting will to loose from my soul all the wicked, evil, horrible things I have watched or read or looked at. I listen from my soul in Jesus' name, and I do it with the keys to the kingdom, and heaven will come down and pull all that out of you like it never happened. So I'm encouraging you, even drugs, it doesn't matter what it is, anything.
That one will pull you in, drugs. That will pull you into a hole that you can't emerge from. I've talked about this before a couple of times, so I'm not going to go into it, but I have, I've told my experience with drugs multiple times on my channels. You know, I was an addict for a long time. I don't believe myself. I'm not an addict anymore because I don't believe in eternal sin. Like, I can move past it, in my opinion, but a lot of people like to show the bad side of drugs. You know, the rotted teeth and the sores and all of the bad things that you get, fear tactics. But they don't talk about the good things that come with drugs. I feel like we got to address the good things and the bad things. Your brain has what is effectively a lock and the drug, coke, heroin, whatever, is the key. And it fits into that lock perfectly, surprisingly. When you take it, you feel like you won the lottery. That's what it feels like. There's this excitement that builds up in you, and you feel like you've just won $10 million. You feel like there's nothing wrong in the world. Everything is absolutely perfect. But in my experience with pretty much every drug, coke, meth, crack, heroin, whatever, for every good you experience, for every bit of good that you experience, you will experience a proportional bad. Heroin's bad doesn't come until a few days later, but it will sneak up on you and it will be very painful. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it will be painful. It will hurt. Like I said, we're not designed to experience that level of pain or pleasure. Our brains aren't designed to go to that level, and they would never reach that level of pain that we experience if it weren't for drugs. It's a level of pain that is indescribable unless you've experienced it. Now, with coke and meth, there is no physical withdrawal, but there is a mental need for this. You will literally rip it out of somebody's chest if that's what it took to get more. Those are the lengths to which you will go. It's not just like, oh, that felt so good that I want more. It's beyond that. It's like the receptors in your brain are telling you need more now. And you'll do anything to get more. So there's a good side, there's a bad side. The real danger, in my opinion, with drugs lies in the fact that it feels really, really good. And people they're not prepared for that. All they hear is the bad. No, there's a lot of good with it. That's the problem. That's what makes it so dangerous. Trust me, you will regret going down that road if you do. You will. And it probably won't even take that long. The best advice I can give, do not do it. Don't do drugs. I don't even drink alcohol personally. Although that's probably because I take naloxone because of drug addiction. And naloxone blocks opioid receptors. I could take heroin right now. I could take I could take 2 grams of heroin right now and not feel it. It wouldn't do anything for me because I take that naloxone. Naloxone attaches to the receptors and prevents anything from attaching to them instead. Now, I don't know the exact chemical effects, but somehow that affects alcohol as well. And alcohol just tastes gross, makes me feel gross. I just don't like it at all when I take naloxone. So anyway, that's probably why I don't drink. But alcohol is dangerous in its own right. After I saw how many people die in their sleep on Xanax, I gave it up. You can quit hard drugs and work a full-time job. You need so much time to yourself for that cleanse. That's the key. I think I read that correctly. Yeah. Hard drugs, like heroin, meth, coke, crack, whatever. People think to themselves, I'm never going to do that stuff. Like, that's crazy. But, you hang out with friends who smoke weed, and then you find a friend that's smoking salvia or that has acid, and you try acid, and you start hanging out with that guy, and you guys are getting into acid or mushrooms or whatever, and then the dude that you get the acid or the mushrooms from also has some pills, like some Lortabs or whatever, and you start taking some Lortabs or Vicodin or whatever, and that guy that you get Vicodin from also sells OxyContin and heroin. And then you're like, hey, it's just like a distilled concentrated version of Lortab or Vicodin or whatever, so I might as well take that instead. And before you know it, in all seriousness, this is exactly how it happened with me and everybody that I know. Before you know it, you move from weed to heroin, and you're like confused as hell, wondering how that happened, looking back on it. So you're going to be faced with a decision. If you smoke weed or you have friends that drink and you go around and drink with them, you will be faced with a decision eventually. Am I going to do this drug, this harder drug, or not? The answer should be no. Pick a line. I'm going to smoke weed. I'm going to drink alcohol, although alcohol is really not good either. You shouldn't be doing that. Pick a line and stay there. Swear to yourself you are not going further, no matter how convenient, no matter how it's just this one time. Doesn't matter. Don't go any further than that, no matter what. I've been curious about weed and whether that could help with my anxiety, but I'm terrified of the possibility of psychosis. My line is psychiatric medications. I don't believe people should use weed as a medicine unless it's prescribed by a doctor personally. You don't want to use it as a crutch. You shouldn't ever be using drugs as a crutch. Mom had me on ADHD meds, which is methamphetamine effectively. It's actually called amphetamines. That's the name of the drug. That I didn't need to be on, and it messed up my mind like nothing else. I imagine so. Yeah. There are a lot of kids that really genuinely need that stuff. But you know what? In Manhattan specifically, there are a lot that don't. And are prescribed anyways because it helps them do their homework faster and, all that other stuff. It's just not good, man. If you have never done a drug in your life, alcohol or anything at all, don't. If you are starting down that path a little bit, set the line at weed and don't go further. Ever. Weed is not very harmful. I mean, smoking isn't good. Getting any combustible anything in your lungs is not great. So preferably eat it if you're going to, but don't go any further than that. Please, I'm begging you guys. I'm on Concerta. Wait, what is it? Methylphenidate, and it's honestly a lifesaver for my ADHD. Let me make this clear too, though. If a doctor prescribes you a medicine, you should take that medicine. Especially if you have ADHD. Yeah, it's basically meth, but it affects your brain differently. And a doctor will put you on a very low dose of it, and that's okay. Take it if a doctor prescribes. Just be very careful who you end up around and which drugs you end up taking. That's all I'm saying. My wife has ADHD also, and it's a nightmare. So I totally get that. ADHD medicine is fine. You know what? If you're in chronic pain medicine is fine. If you have chronic anxiety or depression or whatever, anxiety medicine is fine. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. Just make sure you take it as prescribed at the exact time that you're told. And you don't go off into a different direction. Like, oh, I'm just going to take I feel extra anxiety right now, so I'm going to take an extra one right now. That's not a good idea. Because now you're using it as a crutch. You're using it recreationally, effectively. Even if it's not intentional. You're using it to feel better or to feel good. And that's dangerous. That's a dangerous road. If you still deal with chronic pain and you're on OxyContin 80 or something, tell your doctor and he'll up it for you. Don't take extra. Take exactly what you're prescribed at the exact moment that it's prescribed to you, and that's it. Just follow your doctor's directions is what I'm saying. That's more important than anything. Anyway, that's the end of my drug PSA.
Hell can get you to take that is theirs, is what they will ruin your whole life with, your destiny and everything else. You don't want that to happen. You can say no. And then you say, I choose an act and will to loose from my soul all the wicked, evil, horrible things I have watched or read or looked at. I listen from my soul in Jesus' name, and I do it with the keys to the kingdom, and heaven will come down and pull all that out of you like it never happened.
Okay, that's completely inaccurate and kind of wrong of her to say. Just pray and heaven will pull it out of you like it never happened. Heaven will prevent you from feeling like, you're dealing with withdrawal symptoms like it never happened. No. Kat Kerr is absolutely terrible, truthfully.
So I'm encouraging you, even drugs, it doesn't matter what it is, anything that belongs to hell, loose that junk from your soul. Don't let it ruin your life or run your life.
It's important to do everything you can to get clean, no matter what it takes. Do it. Get clean if you're dealing with this stuff, seriously. I don't know how else to make it clearer. Your life will be 15 times better once you get off the drugs, even if you're poor. In the drug business, the drug world, after I got clean, I came to find that when somebody gets fat, when they get big, it's a good thing. I view getting fat as a good thing because it means they're not on drugs anymore. I remember knowing this dude, who's a family member, a cousin, who was in the drug trade heavily. He was pretty high up. And he was high all the time. He would sit there on the couch smoking a cigarette, and his eyes would barely be open, and that cigarette would burn all the way up to his fingers, and he had like burn marks on his fingers from holding it there because he had, he's totally out of it constantly. He weighed like, 100 pounds or less, 90 pounds. Few months later, after I left the drug world behind and didn't talk to any of those people anymore, that's another thing. You need to separate from those people. After, seeing him after a few months, he was fat, and I was so happy for him. I view it as a good thing that you're getting heavier, that you're gaining weight, that you're like 250 pounds. That's good. It means that you have conquered this absolutely insurmountable thing, this deeply painful, difficult thing that will bring you to hell and back. You made it through. So signs that people are fat it's good to me. I like to see that. That's just my take on it. I actually weigh 137 pounds, and I've weighed the exact same since high school. I've just, always regulated my eating exactly where it has been since the beginning. I'm the same height as I was in high school, too. 5'11", I think. 5'11", 137 pounds, so I'm pretty thin. I think in my drug days, the lowest I ever got was 107 pounds, maybe. And I'm 5'11", so give you a little bit of context. Anyways, drugs just aren't good, man. Stay away from them, okay? Please.
And so that's one of the things that probably every believer needs to know. How important is my soul? The most important thing you have is your soul. It's your little machine that thinks and plans, and then the expressions that you choose to give to people. When they say, what's going on? What do you say to them? When people say, well, how's it going? It's going great. I'm so excited about what God's about to do in this earth. It's all going to change. It won't belong to hell. God's going to have his way. Your life will never be the same again. What about that answer?
Oh, that's a good one.
You know what that's called? It's called truth. The truth. And knowing the truth will make you free.
I don't even know what she's talking about right now. This is nonsense.
Not deception, not evil, not hate, not murder, not pornography. Nothing hell has will make you free.
Did anybody claim that porn would make you free? Oh boy, she's getting upset over this.
Make you free. Not deception, not evil, not hate, not murder, not pornography. Nothing hell has will make you free. You need to be free from Jesus. And I'm telling you this right now. Get rid of the junk. Fill with the life of God, the love of God, and wait and see if you don't move mountains for him in the future. Because I'm telling you, it's going to happen, and no one can stop it from happening.
So what it sounds like to me that she's saying is give up all of your hobbies, give up all of your everything, and zero in on what you can do for God. Well, just like Greg Locke said not too long ago, it's all about what you can do for God. It's all about zeroing in on, or making your hobby. It's all about making your hobby God at any cost. This is honestly awful.
This lousy left and all these other people who think,
This lousy left?
oh, we're turning it over to hell. Hell has nothing!
You know what? Okay, you know what annoys the shit out of me? Let me tell you. Two things. Number one, audio playing on my computer without my permission or knowledge. Okay, I have two computers. I have a Windows computer that I use to stream, and I have a Mac that I use to edit and to play videos. You're watching the Mac right now. And I have multiple browser tabs open on both. And I have no clue where sound is coming from. That drives me absolutely insane. That's thing number one. I think people should receive the death penalty if they program that into an operating system. That's thing number one that pisses me off. Thing number two, people getting really, really loud and fucking up my audio levels like you wouldn't believe when I'm listening to them. That drives me insane. I would really appreciate it if Kerr would stay at the same audio level. Thank you very much. Jesus Christ on a cracker.
The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, it's His. He made everything that ever's been made, will be made, or is made now. And I can tell you, He has plans. And He's not changed His plans. But
Okay, so what are the plans exactly?
evil will have to change their plans. And one day they'll have to make a city that's evil to live in because the regions of light won't tolerate them. In Jesus.
See, this is what annoys the shit out of me right here. She's getting really loud on one word, and I'm going to have to zoom way in on the timeline when I do the edits and go into the compound clip and just trim out that one word and turn it down so my audience isn't getting their eardrums busted out by listening to what I'm playing. Thanks a lot, Kerr. You're giving me more work, damn it.
Plans. But evil will have to change their...
You hear that? Evil is getting louder. I have mine equalized so that it stays within a specific range. It's not going to go outside of that, like when I talk. So you guys may hear me like yelling or whatever, but it's not going to get too loud and throw off my audio settings, personally.
Plans. And one day they'll have to make a city that's evil to live in because the regions of light won't tolerate them. In Jesus' name. I think I'm done.
I don't even know what she just said exactly. God has a plan. Evil won't be accepted. God is going to destroy evil, and they're going to have to create their own city, the evil people, because God's going to give the cities to the people. Is that it?
Oh, we're turning it over to hell. Hell has nothing!
Except your mother.
The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, it's His. He made everything that ever's been made, will be made, or is made now. And I can tell you, He has plans.
Okay, well, let's see those plans. Any 5 seconds now, right?
And He's not changed His plans. But evil will have to change their plans. And one day they'll have to make a city that's evil to live in because the regions of light won't tolerate them. In Jesus' name.
You know what's weird? Her camera's probably close to her screen that she's staring at right now, but you can tell when she's looking into the camera and when she's looking into the screen. Right now she's looking at the screen because her eyes are not dead center. But when she yells at people like that, you can tell her eyes are on the camera. She's looking directly at you. See? Oh, she's angry.
Live in because the regions of light won't tolerate them. In Jesus' name. I think I'm done.
That's good. I mean, that's really good, Kat. I mean, I missed that. I haven't had that for a while. We need to be a little bit whipped into shape, don't we? I mean, that's really good. I know that people have missed that because they need that passion from God that come from God flashes through you.
So usually when she does that, she's claiming to be giving divine revelation from God himself, but she didn't seem to have claimed that this time. Maybe she was just angry. It's like that one time that she delivered a prayer, or no. What was it? It's like that one time that she claimed that God was speaking through her, right? She had prophesied that Donald Trump was going to win the 2020 election, and she was wrong, obviously. So she comes out. In fact, she said he's going to win in a landslide. Not just that he'd win, but it's going to be a landslide. And she had to explain her comments. So Kat Kerr, this is her on Flashpoint. She delivers a message. This message that she's about to tell us is coming from God is using her as a mouthpiece, basically. That's what she's trying to communicate right now. So we're listening to God's words here. By the way, this is from immediately after Inauguration Day.
I say, this is my land, and these are my people, and I have raised them up for such a time as this. My people have prayed, they have fasted, they have called on my name, and I will not turn a deaf ear unto them. But to the lost, to the wicked, to those who chose to cheat and steal and lie, they shall have every curse come upon them that they have spoken over my president, Donald J. Trump. I say,
so, i.e., Donald Trump is the real president, and if you don't believe that, then you're whatever, you're evil, or whatever other thing.
He is the president. He won. And in 2021, you will see that he won.
Hey, guess what? We are years past 2021 now, and we never did find that out, did we? Isn't that funny?
And I say I will replace the one who boldly dares to step upon the platform of my country and say it is his. For he has an evil, wicked agenda. I will not approve that agenda. I will not approve him, and no one should approve him. For I say he is wrong. He is illegitimate.
Talking about Biden.
And I will not confirm him. I will not talk about him.
Well, guess what? He was confirmed, and he's being talked about, so oopsie daisy.
He will not be known in this land. And one day his name will be like dust. And I say he will be crushed below the landslide of the fraud and the evil and the wickedness. It will be plainly be seen and known, and everyone will know what.
Wait. The fraud will be seen plainly and known, and everyone will know? Any second now, right? This is years ago when she released this video. Years ago. Still waiting.
He is and what his plan is, for I call him a villain. The villain is the worst person in the plot.
Talking about Biden again, of course.
And I say he is responsible. He is accountable, and I will hold him to that. And I say there will be no place for him to hide, no place for him to go, and no one who is attached to him, no one who approves him, no one who congratulates him will be on my side. I say, repent if you have said those words. Do not side with evil.
That's insane. So if you follow, or if you accept that Biden is the president, you are going against God. Donald Trump is God's man. Seriously, where are these people's heads? How do they buy this garbage? This is ridiculous, right?
That is what you will have. Do not side with wickedness, for that will consume your life. You do not want to be a part of what is going on there. And I say, I will end it when I say it is over. I'm
sorry. So, civilly determined to be a rapist, Donald Trump is on God's side. Best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a while there. Tons of pictures of them together. Donald Trump is God's man. The pussy grabber. God's man. Totally. That checks out. Absolutely. That makes complete sense. It's so embarrassing. It's painful. It's so cringy. It's painful. So anyways, oh God, dude, I love Kat Kerr's history and going through all of it. It's so entertaining and hilarious and ridiculous. Maybe I'll have to go back through and look at some of her old prophecies again, because it's been so many years since she made them, and looking at them now is absolutely ridiculous. Take a look at Kat Kerr, what she's wearing right now. She's wearing pink camouflage. You know why? She believes herself to be a commander of God's army of angels. Really. She has a pin that says Commander Kat on it. She calls herself a commander. She's about to command some angels to do something. Listen to this. This one is from early June 2021. Biden had been inaugurated the president for like 5.5, 6 months at this point.
Last night, I was out there sending 5 billion of them to go worldwide to make a sweep for the next 30 days, 24 hours a day, to expose any unseen, unknown wickedness, evil, cheating, stealing, lying, controlling, whether it was spirits or people or humans, to pull them down and to stop the activities and make it known where it's talked about on television, where it's shown in magazines, where people will see and know what's going on. And I sent 5 billion last night out to go do that, and immediately they went, and they're going to go to every state and then every country, even some that people don't know about yet are about to find out about it.
Wait, even some countries people don't know about yet? Is that what she's saying? I am so lost. Well, she commanded those 5 billion angels. Wait, was it? 5 billion angels to go off and do whatever it was that she wanted them to do. So they cleared Trump's name and made him president again, right? Right? Isn't that what happened, Kat? There's this whole QAnon belief about, it's a conspiracy theory about how they believe that Trump is going to be inaugurated as the real president March 3rd or March 4th or whatever, 2021. It's a complicated thing. But Kat Kerr spoke on it after that. She spoke on it after that date passed. And oh boy, was she upset over that one. She used her little stick that she has here to make a point. No pun intended.
Right now, I declare and I call forth our president to take his rightful place, Trump, to come forth right now, step into your destiny that God gave you, called you, appointed you, and anointed you for this time to declare over America, to help America. This is his choice, and we call you forth right now in the name of Jesus Christ, who is with you, who will always be with you. The people are with you. The prophets of God are with you. The military is with you. So come forth, step into your destiny now, saith the Lord.
So anyways, she's just absurd. She's an absurd human being, has been since day one, and I am just entertained as hell by all of it. I love it to death. She believes that Donald Trump is God's man. No joke. It's insane.
That's really good. I know that people have missed that because they need that passion from God that came.
All that yelling she did.
Come from God flashes through you like that. And I mean, it's interesting to me because when I see that flash through you like that, I can tell you that you hate evil and you hate everything that causes it. And, I think of David. I was talking to, I think it was Johnny Enlow about, there's that part where David said.
Johnny Enlow is another Trump pastor, and he's also a QAnon pastor. He believes that QAnon is real and the whole 9 yards, all of it. Just sad. Seriously, it's just sad that she believes all of this stuff. That she believes that she is somehow special. Somehow connected to God in a way that nobody else is. It's just painful. Let me know what you think.